I want to welcome you to the Bearcat Beat, where each week we talk about Sherman Bearcats athletics. The Bearcat Beat is brought to you by the Sherman Athletic Booster Club. I'm your host, Chris Daly. Sherman Bearcat Athletics represent the heart and soul of our community, where champions are made both on the field and in the classroom. Our student athletes embody the Bearcat spirit through dedication, perseverance, and excellence, creating memories and building character that will last a lifetime. Remember, it's better to be a Bearcat.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Bearcat Beat. I'm Chris Daly, and I am joined by none other than Coach Josh Aleman. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you having me back on.
Of course. I wish we had happier things to talk about than some of these scores, but let's talk about them, because you're sitting 0-3 right now, that Reedy game. Talk about it.
Yeah, so the Reedy game, when you're playing a team that goes 3 rounds deep every year, you can't spot them 21 points. You know what I mean? We had a block punt. We had a fumble on offense. It was a scoop and score. We also had a muff punt, when they punted to us. So those things, those are all in our control. And we didn't handle the situation like we needed to. The deal is when you look at everything as a whole, we've played 8.5 quarters. We're 0-2. The Rock Hill game, we played 5 minutes. We had 12 plays. So you want to see improvement from week 1 to 2. And you feel like, the mistakes that we made probably last Friday probably could have happened against Rock Hill, before going into district. They didn't. It is what it is. You handle adversity how it comes at you. We couldn't predict the weather that week. And we also couldn't sit there until 11:30 p.m. to go out and stretch. So, I'm going to tell you, like, our kids had a great week of practice. Our preparation was there. It's just coming down to the execution. We have a lot of guys that this is their first opportunity to play Friday Night Lights. And so we're seeing that a little bit. And that's some of that stuff, it's part of the process of what we're trying to get to. It obviously stings when it happens, but we're going to continue to get better. We've gotten better from week 1 to 3 when it comes to that. Week 2, 12 plays. I mean, there's not a lot we could take from that other than we sat there in lightning delays.
Yeah, I got you. And talk about that. You talked about things that are not in your control like that. How are the kids progressing when it comes to the mental errors and, the things that pre-district's all about?
Absolutely. They're making huge improvements. We kind of refocused and revamped what we're doing as coaches as well to help our kids along. We're kind of going back to an old school football mentality of Mondays tackle, Tuesdays tackle, Wednesdays tackle. Kind of the way it was when I played football, when a lot of us played football. And so we're full pads and we go out there and get after it, but it's really locked our kids in. We got a lot more ball down situations that we go through where it's good on good, where we're seeing, the third downs when we were struggling on defense. We got better last week on third downs simply because we repped those things all week long. We had different situations, red zone, goal line, where it's good on good and let's go get after it. And then we go scout it up when we have to.
Nice. And you mentioned getting those reps, getting the tackles. What about the health of the kids? Because that's the flip side of that sometimes.
You do think about those things as a coach, but you also understand that football is kind of a warrior sport now. And it's been the same way since the beginning of time. We obviously do not want anyone to get injured right now. We're 100% healthy, minus a couple things from the game. But, in order to prepare yourself to play on a Friday night, you've got to go through that process throughout the week of hitting and tackling and blocking, and going through things full speed to the whistle, to the ground. Football's football at the end of the day. We understand there's injuries that could happen, but if we do what we're supposed to in the weight room with our nutrition, our bodies will be able to handle it.
Yeah. And you're teaching them great form. So, there shouldn't be a whole lot, knock on wood.
Yes, sir.
Talk about the weather in that area, because there's a whole lot of teams in that area that have had everything turned around because of the weather.
It's Texas high school football here up in North Texas. I'm gonna tell you, the first week we roll out there and it's 80 degrees. This is after a camp where it was 120 degrees, 160 on the turf. Then you go from that to week 1, it's 80 degrees. Week 2 dropped down to like 65 with lightning and rain, and it didn't stop for from 6 o'clock on until 11:30 or 11:02 was the last lightning strike. And then you come back out last week and it's 95 and like 85% humidity, but it comes back down to our training and how we prepare our kids. What I pride our program in it, as well as our kids take pride in it, is how we condition in the summer and how we do things. We hadn't had a cramp in 3 weeks. And so you just go out and play football now. You get tired like everybody does, but in order to relieve some of our tiredness, let's get off the field on third down and we'll be okay. You know what I mean? And offenses keep the ball on third down and we'll be fine. So there's a lot of great things that we're doing. And I understand everyone's frustrated with the results. The scores are what the scores are, but we spotted Denison 4 turnovers. We spotted Reedy 3 turnovers, and it just seems like they're happening at the worst times of the game. But you just got to keep playing football. And that's what the kids understand. They responded. We give up the scoop or the punt block last week. They scoop and score, and we go out the next play and go 78 yards on an RPO that we run a bender behind the safety, and it goes and scores. So we responded. We just got to keep, like I keep telling the kids, we got to keep pounding the rock. You know what I mean? You never know when that thing's going to crack, but it's going to if you keep preparing and putting yourself in a situation to be successful.
I love that. And again, whether it's weather, whether it's turnover, whatever, I see opportunities to discuss how to keep moving, right?
Well, I think, for anyone, and that's what this game is so great, adversity kind of defines a man at the end of the day. You know what I mean? How are you going to handle it? What are you going to do about it? Are we going to fold the tent up because something doesn't go our way? Or are we just going to keep playing football? This game is the greatest game in the world. It teaches you everything about life. And sometimes in life, it's not going to go your way. But you know what? The sun keeps coming up, so you got to get up and go to work. It's 100% what it is. What you can guarantee yourself is if you don't prepare, then you're going to get the results that you don't want. So if you prepare and you give yourself an opportunity and you believe, and last week our word of the week was believe. This week it's effort. We have to go out there and believe that we can get after it, but we got to go and give max effort every single play.
Nice. A lot of coaches, well, I shouldn't say a lot. Several coaches have a goal chart. Like, these are the things we have to focus on. If we get so many conversions on third down or whatever. Do you have anything like that it's like,
there are things that we have goal boards each week that we work off of, but we don't overemphasize or overstimulate our minds on that stuff. We're about us getting better and going out and playing ball. The analytics of football, here's how it works. You're going to put on a helmet, you're going to put on shoulder pads, and you got to go hit people. So when you're talking about the analytics, we look at it as a staff, but as a group, we got to get off the field on third down. We don't want to give up explosive plays, obviously. We want explosive plays on offense. We want to keep drives going, but we focus on ourselves. And, so yes, there's something to those analytic boards and all that and those goal boards. But our goal is to get better each week right now, and that starts each day, each rep of practice.
I love that. And let's talk about McKinney North. You're both 0-3. You're both 0-1 in district. The saying is somebody's O's got to go.
Well, McKinney North brings they bring a lot of challenges to us because they're very physical up front. They're a massive offensive line. They're a massive defensive line. They got skilled guys that can run on the back end. They got skilled guys that can run on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to try to RPO us to death, but they're going to hang their hat at the end of the day on running the football. So that's what we have to stop, and that's what we feel like our strength is. We have some running backs that can go get it. So we feel like our strength is that. But at the end of the day, we got to execute us. And that's where, when you look at week 1 and 3, that's where our struggle's been. It's just executing us. If we'll do that, we're going to be just fine. We were confident in what we got going. We're confident in our guys. We're confident in our coaching staff. And these kids are really buying into what we're doing. We just got to see it turn over on Friday night.
I love it. And finally, Coach, talk about who has stood out this week in practice? Because like you said, you're going hard. Are you noticing some people?
Yeah, so we really turned into each day. So our word of the week, this week's effort. Jackie Johnson's had a really great week of practice. And then we got Pierre Brauhau that's gotten after it this week as well. But effort's what we're looking for. So at the end of each day, so kind of to explain how it goes with us, a coach will talk about it until Thursday. So Monday, a coach talks about last week, let's say belief. Tuesday was a different coach belief, and they call a kid out at the end of the week. Those kids end up being our captains for the week. Nice. Wednesday, another player or another coach does it. And then Thursday, we have a kid do it. So a kid gets up there and speaks what they think what belief is. This week's effort, obviously we're on Tuesday, I believe. Is that what we're on? Yeah, we're on Tuesday today. So, we got 2 kids that we feel good about so far this week. And what's also huge with kind of the old school way to do it, is we do a scout team player of the week guy. And nice. Those kids take pride in that. So our JV guys are out there giving us a look. And, man, I'm going to tell you, it's probably the best scout team look I've seen in 16 years of what we're expecting them to do. They're using it as a tool to develop them as a player. Zone, doesn't matter what offense it's in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So fast screens are fast screens. So we all do the same stuff. Just go out there and execute it and get yourself better. And if you can do it Monday through Thursday against our varsity guys, and Thursday night for them, it's just you're going out there and playing a different level of athlete. But this week we've had a really good week of just going out there and not worrying about. Look, there's noise from everywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. The 0-2, the score, like that is what it is. That's all outside outside our walls. We can control. We didn't have school yesterday with the kids, and guess what? We had 98% of our kids here ready to work. So that's a testament to them at 6 o'clock in the morning, even. So, couldn't be more proud of them and our coaches. You know what I mean? We worry about what's inside our walls, the belief that we have. I'm telling you, we're going to keep pounding the rock, and we're going to keep just getting after it. And the Sherman Bearcats are going to be fine. And, we don't have time for all the naysayers or any of the negative comments. Like, we got inside of our walls, we're ready to rock and roll. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And once we get rolling, you never know how it goes.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know I said lastly, but one more question. What about the sub-varsity? Because they don't ever get a whole lot of pub, but how is the sub-varsity doing?
It's the developmental piece of what we do. Our JV right now is 1-1. Or no, excuse me, 2-1. We lost a nail biter last week to Reedy. Our freshmen both swept Rock Hill. Maroon and white team both swept Rock Hill. So they're sitting at 1-1 as well. 1-1. Yeah, you got to think the weather and all that stuff. So yeah, they're 1-1 as well. Our kids are getting after it. It's the developmental piece. You know what I mean? Yep. We got some kids that probably could play up on Friday night and play special teams, but I want them playing 187 snaps, offense, defense, and special teams. And that's how we get to where we want to be around here. But those guys, man, you have to tip your hat and we've all done it. Yeah. But it's not necessarily fun all the time to go over there and be the scout team. But you know what? They do team at 6:30 in the morning, and then they go out there in their scout team, and then we get team again towards the end, and those kids are just getting after it. You know what? Some of them have gotten the call up. Moving into week 4 here, have gotten the call up because of how they performed in practice.
I love it, Coach. Well, Coach, I want to thank you again, and best of luck this week. Hopefully, the kids perform well, and it'd be nice to get a W. But again, all that matters is you keep getting better, right?
Yes, sir. That's it. I appreciate you.
This is just one of the many amazing things that the Booster Club accomplishes throughout the year for all sports. If you're interested in joining the Sherman Athletic Booster Club, or if you want to purchase some merchandise to show your Sherman Bearcat love, you can visit the website at shermanisd.net under the Athletics tab.
Hey Coach, Lone Star Gridiron has been the leader in Coach's Show podcasts for 20 years, and now you can get your own Coach's Show podcast each week during the season as a fundraiser for your booster club. Yes, booster clubs all over are using these podcasts to help their sports programs. You get to share the stories of your program and your kids to a huge audience and make money. We started with just football, but this year have expanded to make them available for all sports. Call 713-269-4620 to find out the details and get your Coach's Show started.